Hello, readers. Welcome to 20 Questions with Your Favorite Author, where we ask authors important questions like, why would you agree to be on this podcast? Today is a very special episode where we welcome into the world The Dying World by Gregory D. Little, second book in the Mutagen Deception series. Greg is a horror sci-fi author of both the Mutagen Deception series and the completed Unwilling Souls. He writes the kind of stories he likes to read, tales of human failure and redemption set in strange worlds where, be they magical or technological, everything is not as it seems. If he's not your favorite now, he will be after. Yay, Greg! Welcome. First time ever on this stream.
No. There have been a few other times, like
Just
two
a
or
few.
three.
Just, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're here on the channel.
Occasionally I show up.
I know. But this is such a super special occasion with book 2 in your second series. How do you feel?
It's a little crazy. There was definitely times writing this where I was like, can I pull this off?
There were plenty of times before you sent it me where I was wondering if you could pull it off. And you 100% did.
Thank you.
Yes.
Early reviews seem to agree, and that's very very gratifying. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. And surprised, which as an editor, let me tell you, it's nice. It's nice to be surprised. Does not happen often enough.
It's a goal of mine every time I send you a book is to get one over on you.
It only works once, twice, 3. Every time you send me a book. Okay. Let's first say, so this one is the Mutagen Deception series.
Yes.
And book 1, The Last Humans, was out last year around this time.
Yes.
And it is on sale right now. So everyone, as we talk a little bit about that one, it is on sale for 99 cents. And so if you do not have a copy, now is the perfect time to pick it up. And as I scroll down to the link, I will get this in here for you. So it is 99 cents the ebook. And secret, did you know, Greg, tell me if you knew. Did you know that you can actually gift the ebook too?
Yeah, I did. I only recently actually learned that you could do that.
Yeah.
Because for a long time you couldn't, and now you can, and it's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So if you already have it and you want to give it to someone else, yay, Jess Rainey's on too. And you would like to give it to them, trust me, if they like sci-fi, if they like horror, things like aliens with like really twisty surprise endings, this is definitely the series for them.
And it's so cheap now, but you'll get full credit for giving them a book, an awesome book. So it's
right.
It's like you sort of get to like get away with something a little bit,
That's right. Yeah, they don't know that you're being a cheapskate. So as long as you don't tell
exactly.
them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just don't say that. And thank you, Northern Lights.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy it, you will.
Thank you, Friday, also.
Enjoy it. Yay! Thanks, Friday. All right, so let's talk. So the first book. So let's see. If you've not read the first book, so we're going to try to talk about the second book without being too spoilery.
Yes.
But
it's hard.
Yeah. Well, we at least have to read the back cover for the second book for the Dying World.
Which isn't spoilery. I was very proud.
It is not spoiler.
That we managed to write
you did a very good job.
The third book will have to be spoilery, I think. I don't know if there's any.
Well, yeah, it kind of has a different setting.
Right, yeah.
And if you want to know what we're talking about, you got to read the books. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and read the back cover copy. It is, which is more deadly, the secrets we keep from others or the lies we tell ourselves? Stephanie Palmieri is a woman on a mission. A long-hidden technology, the bridge, consumes her every waking moment. A compulsion that seems to come from outside her. All she knows is she has to get it working as fast as possible, while ignoring the sense that she is not herself. Struggling to adjust to a life of school, a home, and a family, Mari Palmieri misses her time as a homeless orphan. At least then she didn't feel the inexplicable urge to kill her adoptive mother, Stephanie, nor did she have visions of a strange man following her, a man no one else can see. Carl Janel has lost the two things that mattered most, his life in the Lancer Corps and his relationship with Stephanie. Dishonorably discharged for doing his duty, he ekes out a living ratting out criminals for money to police, who just as soon see him dead as a traitor. But when Stephanie approaches him with a new job, he'll be forced to infiltrate those same police to uncover a growing conspiracy that threatens the entire city. As Cold Garden's long buried secrets come to light and the city begins eating itself from the inside out, Stephanie Mari and Carl will have to contend with threats, both human and alien, in their desperate efforts to save their dying world. Yay! So
Whoever wrote that
impressed!
copy was very impressive.
Right? We did good, didn't we? I think we did.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So, talking about your characters here, Stephanie, Mari, and
Mhm.
Carl, which one do you relate to the most?
Uh, I guess probably Carl. Just because I don't know. He seems well. He's he's older than I am, but he's a dude who's. I'm trying to think of it's. He is a sort of he's very. This isn't describing me really, but he's very just a disenchanted. He's disenchanted with he tried to do the right thing and got punished for it essentially because somebody had to take the fall in the first book, and that's a sense of embitterment that I think a lot of people can relate to in the sense that you feel like be it your job or some other aspect of your life, you try to do something that follows your moral compass and end up getting sort of taking the rap for it because somebody has to. But the easiest character to write is actually Mari, which is funny since she's a 13-year-old girl, and I am not any of those things. But for some reason, her voice just comes very easily to me, and always has since the first book.
She likes
So
to
maybe
skirt the law a little bit while still protecting those she loves. I don't know. Is that you, Greg? Do you skirt the law? Is this a
no,
confession?
I'm actually pretty rule abiding. She's pretty different from me. So maybe I'm tapping into some subconscious like shadow self when I write her,
Secret desire you've always
and
wanted.
that's why it works well with Mari. But no, she's very funny to me anyway. I think, but she's funny because she doesn't realize that the things she does are funny, and she takes everything very deadly seriously, but in ways that make her actions humorous to me a lot of the time. So,
Oh,
um,
I do like her too. I can't
yeah.
help it. I like her. I'll say Stephanie in the first book, I adored her.
Hmm.
In this book, she's confused. Hence, I was confused about her. Like, did you do that
Yes,
on purpose? Did you realize that was going to happen?
I love playing with issues of identity and like people wondering and like you know what makes someone who they are and how how far would you have to deviate from that before they become not themselves anymore, or by contrast, if you pretend to be a thing hard enough, do you essentially become that thing even if you're pretending? um, all those kinds of things are always interesting to me. You'll notice throughout this series I play with stuff like that in different ways in each book, and the
Mhm.
third book's not going to be any different. Stephanie, Friday asked earlier on, did questions of um, did
Imposter
imposter
syndrome.
syndrome,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's probably I think every writer has experienced that to some degree, and you're able to certainly tap into some of your own insecurities, even if there's insecurities you felt in the past or whatever, and
Hmm.
channel that into. There's another character who we haven't talked about because she's a new character, and I definitely was able to tap into insecurities I've had before in terms of characterizing her. And everyone will get to meet her in the second book. She's a fun character. I had a lot of fun writing
I mean, you could say
Gianna.
her name. It's Gianna, right?
Yeah,
And she's Stephanie's
Gianna. Yes,
assistant.
yes. She's
So,
Stephanie's aide. Stephanie is a
mhm.
magistrate in this one, and Gianna is her aide. And Gianna has an interesting inner life. We'll just say that, and is keeping some secrets of her own.
That's right.
Um,
Let me say,
maybe so.
everyone's identity is up for grabs in this thing, man.
Yes, this is a
So
book,
much.
even more so than the first book, a book all about identity and people discovering things about other people and about themselves that they don't know. Um, hence our sort of tagline about secrets you keep versus the lies you tell yourself. So
Uh, Dave wants to know, was there something you did different in book 2 based on your experience writing book 1? And this is your second book too, so you've done this a couple times.
yeah, I think the trick was twist, and you have to. I had to figure out how to grow on that without, like, it wouldn't. I could have just explored the ramifications of the twist and foregone having a twist in the second one, but I felt like people would sort of, once you do it once, people expect it again, kind of thing. So I had to figure out kind of how to take that and grow it into something that wouldn't just overwhelm everything. And then that sort of forced the direction that the rest of the series is going to go in ways that I can't really talk about without getting too spoiled. But, it's very hard to talk about these books without spoiling things.
It is.
So if I sound like I'm flailing, I am, because that's why. But yeah, I would say in terms of it was trying to keep the feel of the first book with a whole new set of sort of mysteries and twists, and not having it feel like a completely different series as a result of the stuff that had changed in the first book. I guess that was sort of the challenge.
Well, I'm going to say, obviously, I work with a lot of authors. I interview a lot of authors. I hang out with authors. I haven't known any author that is a pantser like you, who's just sits down and Discovery writes the story, but yet has these huge twist and mystery elements involved in them, which ends up having a lot of rewrites. So my question is, how do you, why have you chosen this route? Why have you made life so difficult for yourself?
So I will say I identify more as a pantser, but I always know the ending going in. So
Okay.
I know the ending, I know the beginning, and that kind of bounds your problem, right? If you know where it starts and where it ends, there's only, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could go, but it's not infinite ways, because you have to reach this point. And so what I pants is the sort of places between. Yeah, Greg, why are you the way you are? Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I would like an explanation. This is cool.
So here, I'll give you a sort of summary of my process, and it's not a super great process maybe, but it works for me. It's like, so I have an ending, and then I usually start with an ending, and then I figure out, okay, what's a starting point, and then, okay, now I think of some like cool scenes I would like to see, and I write a few of those cool scenes. And then once I get a cool scene down, I'm like, that's cool, I like that. Then I say, okay, what would either come out of that or lead up to that? And then I try to do that, either like what follows from the cool scene or leads up to it. And I just keep doing that, and patchwork writing cool scenes and coming up with ways that they link together. And then eventually I will have enough of a novel, maybe 85% of a book, of a draft in place. And this is where I am with book 3 actually right now. And I will go to the begin. I will start at the very beginning, and I will start and I will write in order for the first time of the entire draft and fill in all the gaps. And that's when I start cutting out obsolete text, because sometimes you'll write a scene early on and it's cool at the time, but then it later doesn't fit in, and so you have to get rid of it or rewrite it. And that's my process. And like I said, that's about where I'm at with book 3, is the fill in the gaps part. And that's how I end up with it. And we almost always, after the first draft, have to do a decent amount of rewriting, sometimes even more than decent, because I'll think of something better. We had to do that with this one, actually. We basically rewrote Gianna's plot entirely on the second draft.
It works really well, though.
Yeah, it works way better, because it's like, you could tell with the first draft that I had an interesting thing for her, but it wasn't fully formed in my head, and I just needed some time to kind of think about it. And then once I did, I was like, oh, I know a better thing. Oh man, I'm gonna have to rewrite that whole stupid plot.
Right.
And it's super inefficient. I would be a way faster writer if I outlined. But the thing for me is that discovery part of all the stuff that links together and things that you don't think are connected but wind up being connected. That's the fun part.
It's more fun.
So if I figured all that out before I even started writing, I wouldn't write the book because at that point it's just the boring part. It's just the actual like putting the words down, and that's not the fun part. The fun part is all the discovering of the linkages between neat things. So I do what works for me. I don't advocate it for other writers. There's way better ways to write books than what I do, but it works for me.
Yeah, but it's proof for what most professionals do advocate for, and that is find what works for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, this is how I do it. You could try it. I can't tell you if it's going to work for you or not, right? You know, that's the kind of thing. So no, it's more proof that it's something different for everyone. Let's see. Spikeette wants to know how many more books in this series. Yeah, your publisher would like to know that too. Do you know? I know there's at least one more because you're working on it now.
We've talked. There's going to be 6 total. So four after.
Oh, I had 5 in my head. Okay, 6. Gotcha.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, I actually have it kind of broken down into 3 2-book like sub-series. So Last Humans and Dying World come to a culmination of this particular plot line that I think everyone will agree feels sort of endy. And then the next 2 books will be a different sort of story, and then the final 2 books will be like a third and final story. But they're all one series. They're all called Mutagen Deception, but it's sort of broken out. You can sort of expect a lot of major threads to resolve every 2 books, essentially.
I love it. I love it.
That's the plan.
I love it. 6 books. Sounds good. We're going to have to find some more, models to put on those covers, man.
We should have enough characters by then, I think. Yeah.
Find something fun.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll even bring back an old favorite or 2. You don't know.
Things happen. You should read this book. Now, before I ask the next question, because the next 2 questions are very serious from the chat, just for the record. You can see them. You know they're not. Okay, but they're fun, so we love them. What I would like to do is do a giveaway. So I put in the link. If you want to buy the ebook, please do that now. It's up. It's only $4.99. But if you would like a signed copy of the paperback, please enter the giveaway. Just put "Bang Ticket!" ! Ticket. So you can win a signed copy. Do you have did you grab a book?
Oh yeah. Hold on.
He's like, this one. That shall be your book.
Yes, I will put this special one aside for whoever wins.
That's right. He will even put his name in it.
Yes, and if the typo is still in there, I will correct it.
That's great.
I have not yet verified whether the typo is still there, but if it is, I will correct it in pen, so that, and I will even initial it to be like,
it was checked.
I probably did this, because it was probably fine when I got the copy, and then during corrections, I accidentally deleted the first letter of the sentence. It may have happened.
There are so many of things. It's ridiculous. Now the copy is fixed now, but you never know what copy you get. Yes,
but we don't know what they printed, so.
So you'll be winning a very special edition of this book. See.
Yes.
That's cool. So hit that. So, Jessica Rainey wants to know, are there bees in this book?
I'm thinking. I don't believe there are bees in this book. Stay tuned to the 3rd book, I guess. There's something not entirely dissimilar to bees in the 3rd book.
I have to say, for someone who professes fondness for insects, there are very few insects in this book, except the insect-like aliens of the Revenants.
Yeah, I mean, they're giant monster insects, so I feel like that covers a lot of insect ground.
Just put them all in together in one monster.
Yeah, and I mean, they're big and scary, and
they are.
Yeah.
It always reminded me of a beetle and a Did you ever watch Stargate?
The
TV show?
I've seen a little bit.
They have these replicators on that show.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically move like spiders, right?
Mm.
And yet they can be intelligent too, right? They have different forms, but they're basically nanobites in big form. And so they replicate, right? They do like the
Right.
Borg did, right? They
Yeah.
take apart everything, kill all organic, take apart except, Borg kept some organic. Take apart everything and assimilate it into now being replicators. And so these things feel very much like this combination of a living like beetle, something strong, instinctive thing with this like, robot thing, even though that's not what it is at all. That's what I see in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's I mean, how whatever the reader, however they choose to picture something, that I'm a firm believer in. You own your experience with any given book or story, and once it goes out there, it belongs to the readers, in terms of how they interpret what's out there, whatever I intend. If you're trying to have exactly one interpretation of a book, you're kidding yourself as an author. That will never happen.
I laugh because you get those authors that are like, no, this is how you say this name or whatever. I'm like, well, this is how people are saying it who are reading it. I mean, how
Yeah.
can you say? And then you have like Terry Brooks, who's like, I thought it was Shannara, but everyone pronounced it Shannara. So guess what? It's Shannara.
Right. Right. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's much healthy way. And didn't you have the same thing? Didn't you pronounce Mari and it was Mary in the like didn't what was your incident of that?
Oh, Renee, our Renee Kim, our audiobook reader, for the series. She's
Mhm.
fantastic. She's great to work with. But for the first book, she was pronouncing it, and it's my fault because I was behind in corrections. So she was getting ahead, and if I had gotten to corrections earlier, we could have stopped it, nipped it in the bud. But she got like 12 chapters in, calling her Marie, and I was listening, and I'm like, well, I guess she's going to be Marie now.
That's what it
That's
was.
fine as long as it's consistent. And then in chapter 13, she switches and starts calling her Mari, which is the way I pronounce it. And I'm like, all right, I'm real sorry,
You gotta
Renee.
choose.
but now that you've pronounced it Mari for like 3/4 of the book, you need to go back and fix the first 12 chapters. I felt so bad because in a couple instances she had to just re-record the whole chapter because it's like it's a character's name. It happens over and over and over again, especially if they're the POV character. And but we got it straight.
Man, I'm surprised she was willing to do book 2. She's a pro, man. Let's see. Dave wants to know: did your writing wrongs, so that's the D&D that we streamed, did your writing wrongs experience influence the book at all?
No, because maybe it's possible, but no. That what writing wrongs you will see influences in is a series that we have not formally announced yet. And Kelly knows what I'm talking about there.
I'm so excited.
But,
Well, we can give away that there's a Master Fault character.
Yes,
in the new
this
series.
not in this series that we're talking
In the
about
new
tonight,
one.
but in the new series, there is a Master Fault character, and he's a lot
Yay,
of fun.
Birdie's on. We were so sad she couldn't
Birdie.
come. Yes, no, Birdie did a great job. She makes everything pretty for us so that when you read it, it's not 1,000 typos, just the couple that we miss.
Yeah, Birdie is our fantastic proofreader for this series. Wonderful to work with if anyone needs editing.
Yep, absolutely necessary. All right, let's see. I think that the contest is over. It is over, Zafo. Let's see who won. Northern Lights.
Northern Lights.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Northern Lights.
And I think Northern Lights just got book 1, so they'll have book 1 and book 2 ready to go.
Yes.
Yay. So Northern Lights will, if you want to whisper or email, Zafo will take care of it, Captain Wyvern. And then we'll send your info to Greg, unless Greg already has it. I don't know.
I do not.
Yeah, so send it to, like I said, Zafo will get on and ask or message you or something, and then we'll get your email and we'll get the info. So congratulations. Yay.
I'm very glad
we are going to give
Lights
one more away. I'm sorry, Greg?
I said I'm very happy Northern Lights won. She also just bought the entire Unwilling Souls omnibus collection a couple of weeks ago when that was on sale. So,
ooh, you're gonna love it. It's so much fun. I used to be afraid of spiders, but man, I want one now. I mean, if I could get one, I could ride around in the body of a dead dog. I think I would be in for that one, man.
I've done my job then.
Yeah. Yes,
Uh,
you've done it. You've converted me. Let's see. I have to go back up to Dave's question because I loved his question when we were talking about winging it. Lahia agrees with you, winging it. Dave wants to know, when you make a sandwich, do you pre-plan the meat and fixings, or you just grab two slices of bread and wing it? What happens? How do you make your lunch, Greg?
how do I make my lunch? My
Uh-huh.
sandwiches are almost always peanut butter because I'm a 10-year-old boy and disguised as an adult. And so that's usually what I eat.
So it's not
And
planned or winged. It's just
it's
habit.
just, there's only one, so
Mhm.
you just do it. It's the exact opposite of how I write, where I would get bored if any of my books felt like any of my other books.
With
So,
this That's true. I mean, with this third series, right? That will come out next year, y'all are I
yes,
cannot wait. Trust me, Greg and I both shake when we want to talk about it because it's so good.
yes.
The they're all three of them have completely different feels. And I'm
Hmm.
wondering, did you like do that on purpose just to keep yourself entertained, or are those just the ideas that came to you?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to get into a situation where I'm just like taking the same formula and rearranging the pieces a little bit and right and no absolutely no disrespect to anyone who likes to read that sort of thing or write that sort of thing. It's just not my thing, and so I get bored if it feels too similar to something I've done before.
Hmm.
So I tend to vary things up. For the new series, I will say my wife has been hounding me for years now to write something funny because in her theory, it's easy to write sad or upsetting books, and doing funny is much harder. So this is going to be dedicated to her, um,
Oh,
uh, as the funny book. I think it's going to be like to Debbie, who asked me to write something funny, and this is what resulted, or something along
and
those
then
lines.
regretted it ever since. Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How about
Sorry.
this joke, hun? Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
Can I go to sleep, please? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, Excellent. Okay, we're good. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. No, I'm just so excited. But so Dying World, book two, um, to the one who's obligated to find me funny. Oh, there you go, Birdie. That's the dedication to the one who's obligated to find me funny. Stop it, Birdie. We're gonna make you write all of our dedications too.
That's right. Yeah.
New job description. um, the This one, see, I want to talk about location, and that's complicated. So in the first book, they're in the last human city on an
Yeah.
alien, right? On a
On Earth.
yes. So they're the last human city. Sorry, there's a bridge that talks to other worlds. So as I'm trying to talk about this,
Right.
that's what we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
in the thing.
It's no. It's confusing, and I
Yes.
apologize.
Yes.
Even I have to sit there and be like, "What am I? What did I make up for this?
Wait, hold on. Where are we?
what,
So last human
what's
city.
happening?" And more importantly, what do the readers think is happening?
Right. So I'm wondering, did you like go anywhere to like that inspired you when you were like making these settings? Because it's a big like modern city. Did you like pull something from any cities you've been to? Did you, it was from a movie that you saw? You really like the aesthetic? Like where did you get the feel of it?
So I modeled. Well, I've never been. So anyone who has been, I don't want to be, making an ass of myself. The the city is supposed to be Calgary. The reason I picked Calgary is twofold. One, because it had the geography I was looking for.
Hmm.
Um, Two, because the name of the city, one thing I like is figuring out the origins of the names of things. And Calgary, I think, from what I looked up, and this could be wrong. So again, if I am wrong about this, because this is like years ago that I did this, don't nobody come after me, please. But
It's okay. We're not
uh,
recording this.
it's from, I think, a Gaelic term that means cold garden, and that's where I got the
Oh,
name Cold Garden for the city.
got it.
And I thought that sounded evocative and cool and
Hmm.
mysterious, so I went with that as a thing. So
Well, it worked. And of course, it
yeah,
isn't exactly Calgary, so don't freak out, Calgary people, because it
no,
is, in the future. There has been an alien
yes,
invasion, right? So
yes.
it's not, there is a
It is.
wall
It is.
protecting it. Yeah.
It is not meant to resemble the actual city of Calgary in any way. It's a very fictionalized version of that city, and there's even more stuff going on.
Uh-oh. I don't know if that was me or you. Audience
I
have to
don't
tell
know.
us. It might have been me. I hope it was me because you were the one talking. I was just looking. So, no,
Kelly,
Bertie
we
says,
had
uh-oh.
you the whole time.
We had me the whole time?
Correct.
Well, you would have me. We're local, right?
No, I still.
I'm sorry. Dave's question is my favorite. This is one
Oh,
I
that's a
worry
great
about
question.
sometimes. Yeah, Dave wants to know which of your characters is the most angry at you for how you treated them.
Am I still frozen? By the way.
No, we can see you.
Okay, good.
Yes, Northern
who,
Lights. Greg was so awesome. He froze the stream with his
that's right.
awesomeness. That's what happened.
Who is the most angry? Let's say I have to think.
You might have to rank them. I mean, this
Well,
is.
because I'm in book 3 mode, and so there's a whole new
Oh.
level of like rage that they must feel at me. But if going back to book 2, man, that's hard. They would all really hate me. I would not want to meet any of them if they knew that I was responsible for their current situation. I guess Stephanie, maybe. I don't know. I'll go with Stephanie for book 2. Stephanie.
I think that's fair.
Uh,
See, I
yeah.
would have said Carl, except that Carl
Carl's
doesn't hold a grudge.
Yeah, not a ton of one anyway.
No, because I mean, Carl lost his love, right? Which I love that, that broke me too. Like I was very sad about that.
Yeah.
Because they had this budding relationship, and then that just doesn't work out in book 2. Not giving anything away, it's on the back of the darn book. And so and I was like, oh, aren't they sweet? And I was like, oh, they're not together. I'm so sad now. What I do want to know is if you can tell us a little bit of the future, is that Stephanie has a child. And in the first book, it's how, because they have the mutagen, what's the disease called?
Mutagen Prime.
That's it. The mutagen prime that mutates if they have any kind of injury. It's really bad and it mutates them.
Yeah,
So,
basically, if you injure yourself, you run a percentage chance of your injury just turning into this crazy mutational effect and killing you outright. So
forget infection. This is way worse.
Yeah.
Way worse than gangrene ever was. It's quicker and more painful, this one. So of course you can't stop it. You can cure gangrene if you get it soon enough. But so for this disease, because she has a baby and the baby is exhibiting symptoms of it, right? So she's trying to help in the first book. In the second book, she still has her baby. Baby's alive. Don't freak out. Sorry, I'm giving spoilers, but I don't care. There's a baby. It's alive. The baby, but she's still a baby, right? Because this is right after. Do you age her any in the next book? Like, is she still in this book? I mean, without giving spoilers, I just mean, like, is there going to be more of a personality for her? Because I'm very curious, having been born in this chaos that she was born in. I'm very curious about what happens to her.
So she is in the third book. The third book right now, unless you object, you haven't seen a first draft, so talking about it is probably risky. But right now, it takes place basically immediately after the second book. So no, she will not have aged up. However, I am planning, based on how the third book ends, to have something of a time jump between books 3 and 4. Okay. So because of certain circumstances that need time to percolate a bit before they can come to fruition.
And I'll say this again is not a spoiler, that at the end of book 2, you get your first glimpse of the character who Greg is making the entire new series about. So there is a crossover. So it's very, very exciting that these things take place in the same world.
Yeah, if you would get to the epilogue, I don't think it's spoilery to say that. The POV of the epilogue is the protagonist of the new series. If anybody So every time I've gotten a review, talked to someone who had an early read, I always ask, what did you think of the epilogue character?
Well, you better love her because you're going to get a lot of her. That's all there is to it.
Yes.
That's right. Let's go ahead and do that second giveaway real quick.
I see there's a question about starting with settings characters or something else when I begin plotting? That's hard to answer just because I feel like I start with, I guess, situations. Like, that's a weird answer. Like, something like, wouldn't it be weird if this crazy thing, if this society turned out to be this crazy thing, and then characters come out of that, and setting comes out of that, and so it's like an end, sort of crazy end state that I'm trying to reach. Dave.
He's like, I have all these points, I must use them.
An end state I'm trying to reach, and what's an interesting way to get to that and depict that, and have a character, have a bunch of characters who are swept up in these events. So none of the above, I guess.
None of the above. I will say you're the most successful author I've ever seen of, because a lot of us use what if, right? A lot of us. But you really use what if. Like, you dive into that what if to create your world. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible. Because the first book, What If? What was the what if for the first book?
That's hard to say without spoiling. But
well, for me, no, sorry, not the first book. The first series. Sorry, you're for The Unwilling Souls.
Oh,
right. That's an easy one.
Yeah, the what if there is, what if there was a society whose gods had risen up to try and wipe them out, and they fought a war to imprison, and then wound up imprisoning them in a prison in the hollowed out center of their planet. But at the end of the war, the gods had summoned up all these gigantic beasts to stomp all their cities flat, all the human cities flat, and the humans had killed the beasts and then rebuilt the cities into the bones of the beast, basically. So that was the what if. And
yeah. I mean, it's really a brilliant what if, and you're like, I'm going to make a whole series about it, and you did.
And I guess from a character standpoint, actually, that series started with a short story of Sess's parents going down into, as teenage sort of star-crossed lovers, going down into sneaking down where the prison is, and because they were making trouble, basically, and there's always something else going on because it's one of my books or one of my stories. And then the what if for the character of Unwilling Souls, the books, was what if those two grew up to have a kid who had to kind of fix their mess that they created.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I love it. It worked. And don't forget to enter the giveaway. This is the second signed book, so hit bang ticket to enter the giveaway for that. Dave wants to know, I don't know, you and Jessica Rainey might have to answer this together, is why did you choose evil as a lifestyle, Greg? I mean, what is that?
It's more fun, we've come to the dark side, we've got cookies. What is this? Isn't that the meme?
I love that, because you're not very nice to your characters. Let's face it, none of us are.
No.
And you like to play evil when we game, right? But you are not evil.
No, so when we first played the one where we had to name characters, name who we were as Star Trek characters, and then we got into this big debate on Discord about it afterwards. And I said I was Bashir, Dr. Bashir from DS9, and Dave countered, said no, that I'm Garak. And my response to that is no, because Bashir is fascinated by Garak, but he's too much of a goody to like actually go down that road. So like he's like interesting, but like he's not actually willing to like go there. That would definitely be me. So I guess it's the sort of grit. Yeah, the sort of gray characters, the characters that make bad choices or morally compromised choices, they're always interesting to me, even if I would not follow them down their paths personally. But Dave,
you'll watch them and take notes, though, right?
That's there's my favorite kind of character in any book, whether I write it or not, is the wild card character who you never. They don't really take any sides. Sometimes they help the good guys. Sometimes they help the bad guys. You can never quite tell what they're going to do, and those are so fun. I love characters like that.
They keep things interesting.
Jess, because good is dumb. Yes, she captures it there.
She gets it. And for anyone who has not gotten the first book yet, The Last Humans, I am putting that in. It is 99 cents. Here's your reminder. I put that link in so you can click on that and get that book now, or gift it to a friend to see how evil they are. There should be an evil scale based on characters of yours. Actually, we could probably make one up. We could probably do that.
Probably.
Especially considering both series. We could get the whole scale up and down.
Yeah. The Unwilling Souls is definitely more of the straight sort of the heroes are more straight heroic than in this series where they're
but you have more evil characters.
Yeah.
Right? You're right. It's more divided. Where this series, the Mutagen Deception, they're more gray characters.
Yeah, they're very gray.
For sure. And in your third series, they're going to be purple characters.
Well, certainly blue in some ways, but there's a lot more language in that series.
There is. There is. Kevin Petway's going to be so proud.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick the winner for the signed book.
I'll get their copy.
I know. You're going to get their copy. Sorry, it's a different one.
This
totally
one.
Different.
And
Vicky won. Yay, Vicky. Woohoo. Congratulations.
Well, I'm assuming you can give me Vicky's contact info.
Yes, Vicky's contact I have. I have memorized.
Yes.
And let's face it, it'll be Mom who reads it first, and she's very excited because she only reads paperbacks. Spikehead does want to know if you're evil enough to be in the Evil League of Evil.
No, I think I'm merely I think I'm an evil poser at best.
Maybe you could join the sidekicks. You know, they have openings. That's what we hear. Yes, you'd have to ask Bad Horse. Exactly, Dave. See, we are all on the same page on this one. 100.
I'm only evil to the characters who can't do anything to me in return. So it's like, it's very.
The convention we just came back from, JordanCon, there was the 10 p.m. after, make sure your kids aren't in the room discussion. It was about writing, I swear. But there was a guy in the audience wearing a Captain Hammer shirt, hammer and everything. And he went to ask this question. I'm just like, we do the weird stuff. And he just looked at me. And the audience laughed, and they're like, Captain Hammer. He's like, oh, yeah. Like, he totally forgot he was wearing the shirt. He had no idea what I was talking about. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. So this gets to the very important part of the conversation. As we're celebrating the dying world, we need to know even more about the dying world's author. So we need to know extremely important things like, what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate peanut butter.
Ooh. Like your sandwiches. Just instead of the bread, it's the chocolate in there. I see.
That's right.
See.
Yeah.
I'm noticing a trend.
I'm a peanut butter guy for sure.
Which shoe do you put on first?
Ooh. I want to say the left, actually. That's interesting. I never really, because I think my right foot would be dominant. So it's like, and I tend to just stick my feet, like, I stand up and then shove my feet into the shoes. It's not like because I generally wear shoes that I can just stick my feet in. So I'll probably stand up, balance on my right foot, stick my left foot in, and then reverse.
And then move in. We're done. Okay, I like it. I like it. All right, left foot first. Interesting. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Nice. Yeah, you have no animals in your book. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know.
I mean, I know it's the last city of humans, but I mean, someone's going to keep their dogs, right?
Yeah, I never really thought about it. I guess it's like, it's not a, I think maybe I don't want to like even entertain the notion of, does the dog die?
I will tell you, some stuff goes down in book 2, so that was probably a wise decision.
Yeah.
That was probably a wise decision. That's right. We know what happens, Anne-Marie, when there is when you kill an innocent puppy. Yeah.
I've still never watched all of John Wick because we got to that part and I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, but it's the most justified. I mean, I say that, I've only heard, I haven't watched it either, because Violence and I don't know, we're back and forth.
Yeah.
No, it's not my favorite. Friday says she figured they were eaten. Come on, Friday.
I mean, depending. I don't know. Anyone who's owned a dog, a big enough dog, especially, knows that going without injuring yourself in a city where injuring yourself would kill you is probably impossible. So
That's
maybe
true.
dogs are too great a hazard.
Hmm. That's right. Would
Oh,
hypermutation affect cows?
Birdie asked a question I actually have an answer to.
Ooh.
Are there cows? No, there are no cows. All the meat in Cold Garden is like grown in vats, um, as
And on the
opposed to
wall.
it's not on an animal. It's lab grown meat. Um, yeah, and they grow a lot of crops on the wall.
I remember I asked about that at one point. I'm like, how do they eat if they have the farms
Yeah,
out here, but there's people? And he's like, well, I do want it on the walls. I'm like, let's do that. That's a great idea.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Made sense to me. Um, where was I? Man, this audience keeps interrupting my very important questions. How Dave wants to know, how long could you survive in your own world?
Not long. That goes for probably either series
Yeah.
or all
All
three if we
three,
want. Yeah,
quite
all
frankly.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would not be good. I wouldn't want to live in any of them.
No, no. And so people like, how would you survive the zombie apocalypse? I'm like, I wouldn't. You know all those dead bodies on the side of the road that aren't zombies but also are not survivors? Yeah, that's me.
My
That's
wife
what
and
would happen.
my wife and I joke that we would just join the zombie. We'd just be Team Zombie. We're like, we're going to join the winning side. Like, we're winners. We're just going straight for the winning side.
It is my destiny. I'm doing it. Are there Bernie wants to know if there are lab grown eggs on the plants. Like
Uh,
the audience really wants to know about eggs for some reason.
I don't know.
Man, good thing y'all aren't his editor. Jeez, apparently I wasn't mean enough.
I've never thought about eggs. That's a good question. I'm sure if you gave me a half an hour, I could probably come up with a bullshitty sounding sciencey explanation for how they grow eggs. Because I'd be a really good technobabble person on Star Trek. I'd be really good at that.
I could do the idiot lines.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, it's like letting air out of a balloon.
Right, right. Dave says if mutagen deception was made into a video game, what's the genre? Dave
Well,
wants to know if he
David,
should stream it or not.
Dave, it's funny you asked that because mutagen deception is definitely strongly influenced by the XCOM games. So I'll go with an XCOM game or an XCOM like.
Well, what kind of game is that? Is that a first-person shooter? Or is that I don't know what that game
It's
is.
a turn-based
Okay.
turn-based strategy or turn-based tactics game, I guess, where you're fighting alien invaders essentially. And there's a specific alien species in the games that is definitely not, or is definitely at least a little bit of an influence on what the Revenants are like. So
All right, sorry, but this is why they're stuck in the eggs. Bertie says someone has Chinese takeout in this book. How do the eggs get into? How do you know what they really know what Chinese food is anymore? I mean, it's been a
exactly.
long time. Alien invasion. It's more like Chinese inspired, like not
Yes.
actually.
And there's a lot of patchy records. They're not totally aware of everything that was going on in the past. So we'll just say that Chinese food maybe went away.
Maybe that's what they just call takeout food. It's just called
Maybe,
Chinese,
yeah,
even no matter
yeah.
what it is. Alien Chinese fusion.
Now I see now why you have Birdie on these streams, because if she's left into the chat, she's just like throwing
Stirs
grenades.
trouble, man. That's why she needs to be here with us instead of
Yeah,
in
I
there.
know.
Yeah.
Where you can keep an eye on her.
Oh, I love it. That's all right. New character, new book's gonna be named Birdie. Let's do something horrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like dangerous territory here.
I love it. I love it. All right. So since we're talking about food anyways, what is your favorite kind of takeout?
I mean, we eat a lot of Mexican. I'd probably have to go with Mexican, although we don't generally do takeout for Mexican. But my single favorite restaurant is probably an Indian place that's not too far from us. They're very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they have tacos? They do, but it's all plant-based. Sorry,
I
they're
will.
forced. They're forced vegans. They didn't get a choice,
It's interesting because I don't write a lot of eating scenes in my books. There's
which is
one in
good.
yeah, because that doesn't interest me all that much. So like there's no lavish descriptions of food. I think Carl has noodles at one point in this one, so there's noodles because that's canon.
Because he almost drops it.
Yes, yeah, he almost drops the noodles. Yeah. How I have a working title for book 3, but it hasn't gotten the Kelly seal of approval yet, so I won't say it.
I change all his titles, so we'll see about this one.
Yeah, I like this one. I think this one has potential.
Okay, the death.
The death.
The bigger, more horrible, twisty death. Mari deserves righteous anger just for not knowing what tacos are.
I'm glad she has.
Bertie, are you hungry? Do you need to go eat?
I'm glad Mari has such a strong advocate in Bertie. It's comforting to know that she's got someone in her corner. So,
I mean, that kid's a survivor.
Yes.
Just to see her name on the back cover gives you hope, So
Yeah.
We'll see if she's on the back cover of book 3 or not.
We'll see.
Spoilers. So as the audience runs away and we give away our free books, and I'm so excited about that. What are your parting words? How would you prepare people to start this series?
If you are interested in a story that will have you staying up all hours reading, wondering what the heck is going on, vaguely aware that something doesn't seem quite right about all this, there's intrigue, there's betrayal, there's like I said, questions of identity. It's all based around a corrupt political process in this city that also happens to be besieged by alien monsters all the time. And it starts out with our protagonist, Yaz, in book 1, winning election to city magistrate, and then coming home to find her boyfriend dead under very suspicious circumstances, and seemingly with a message indicating that she was the target. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, especially when you throw in alien bug monsters, what I went for with this series was a B monster movie that leaves you thinking for days afterward. And I've heard from readers that works. That they're 3 days after they finish, they're still thinking about the ending and going back and rereading portions of it. And that made me so happy when I heard that, because that was really what I was going for.
It's pretty impressive. I will say this is not a light reading to do at your lunch. This is, as Northern Lights is saying right now, this is a stay up all night book, right? Both of them. So make sure you're prepared. You're like, all right, I'm going to make sure you have some time. I'm going to read this book, because I'm telling you, you're not going to put it down once you start it.
I have an anecdote that at least one reader read the first book in one sitting.
Yeah. I feel it. You have to know. And I'm telling you, I have read books before where I have to know, and I'm not even enjoying the ride. I just have to know what the secret is, or the secret happens and I'm mad at it. This book does none of it. The ride itself is so much fun. And then that twist at the end is so satisfying. So happy. So congratulations, Greg.
Thank you.
I'm
very, very excited. I'm happy I was able to do it twice.
Yes. Yeah, you just got to do it again.
We'll see.
We'll be talking about this next April, and we shall see.
Right.
We will all be the judge. That's the bad part about writing, right? Everyone is our judge.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for coming. And link is in the chat for both the 99-cent and to get your copy of, do I have the right one? I do. Of The Dying World. That is right here. So you can get both books for $6 right now. So thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. And we will see you next Tuesday with our next amazing interview, who is Alicia Kay. So we'll see you then. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for coming out.